Memories lunch. What have you been up to, Dustin? Man, we haven't seen each other since Tyler.
It's busting my butt, man. Trying to trying to grab some traction, but I finally am. So that's a good thing.
What's your business look like these days?
Pretty much squashed everything except for the wholesaling,
Okay.
and just kind of been running with that. So I'm doing a flip here and there, but just focusing on acquisitions for a lot of the other investors in the area. So
Emery, baby. Emery, can you not play with the Legos on this side of the office? Can you go to the other side? She's like right
check
on the
that.
other side of my table, just hammering out the Legos. So, what do you think was holding you back about flipping? Were you trying to flip? Was it the time?
Doing too much at once.
That's man, I was in Erie.
Right.
Do what?
I said without the right systems.
Systems are hard, but I was in Erie the other day, and a guy asked me. He said, "Hey, what should I do? I want to flip houses. Blah 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 blah." So what are you doing now? He's like, "I'm wholesaling." I was like, "Just do more wholesaling. Do
Yeah.
more wholesaling until you can't wholesale all the leads you get, and have enough capital to actually perform on a flip.
Yep.
Then go into flipping, because all you're going to do is, if you try to jump to flipping too soon, is you're going to get slowed down with something you don't know how to do or execute on, and
Oh yeah.
then from there, you're bogged down in the details. I know, because I started out flipping. I didn't know about wholesaling, and
Yeah.
it's hard to stretch 3 months at a time. You know, from started project to finish, and the money comes back in your bank account. By then, you've maxed out all your credit cards. All the money you make, you're broke again. I mean, as soon as the check clears, you're broke all over again.
I did the exact same thing. I started flipping it because I was a contractor before that. So, every 3 months I'd get a closing, and then the money was all gone again. So,
So how's your wholesaling going?
good.
How'd you build your buyers list? I don't wholesale, so I don't necessarily know this.
I've just networked heavily in the area for the past few years. So I think a lot of it's just through networking and just getting to know people and getting to know my buyers and things like that. Just spending time with them. So when I jumped in at full time, I'd say July, and since July, I'm just under 50 deals. So
Dude, you're doing more wholesale volume now than 90% of the people that are out there trying to teach wholesaling at scale. And I seen a dude draw at his systems this weekend. Um, it's crazy, like crazy, his flow chart of how it goes from, I mean, it goes to one call center, and then after that call center, it goes to a complete other call center.
yeah,
And I mean, it's just getting beat on with a different message. Same thing with text messaging. They're hitting them from about 5 different ways with text messaging, and it's a big machine.
oh yeah.
Emery, baby, go to the other end of the office, please. So, what with the wholesaling? What did you say your average margin is on a wholesale deal in Ohio?
5 to 7K a deal. I
That's
mean,
not bad.
our margins, but I'm buying 5, 10, 15, $20,000 houses. So, I mean, but I can get them all day long and move them all day long to investors that are buying for rentals. So that's been kind of my focus.
What's your cost per acquisition? Do you know? You have it drilled down?
It's a little all over the place because I just was playing with so much different types of marketing in the beginning. I would say my best form of marketing so far has still been networking and just getting out there and hammering it out myself. I think in third or fourth quarter, I did like 70K in assignment fees without no marketing costs. So I did track that specific channel, and then everything else is just kind of all over the place. We've been killing it with SMS though. So
What,
I've
what tech platform are you using?
I'm actually, so I hired an internet manager when I went full time, and he has since started his own lead generation business with my partners. And so he automates everything for me. I basically just give him the stacked list, and then he puts it in some software that he built himself. And so it'll text, RVM, and then email, and then it does a 4 to 6 week follow up, and then everything drops into my CRM from there. So I don't know what he's actually using for the texting because he just does it for me at this point.
Right.
But yeah, we're, I think, 4 or 5, somewhere in like high threes, almost 400 leads just off of SMS, and I've set over 100 appointments from those alone. So the conversion rate's been really good.
So what does he open that up to the public? Would he sell that to me?
Yeah, I'm sure he would. Can
Because
we?
that
Can I? Is this comment feed right here open for anybody? Can I tag someone?
yeah, I think you can tag. I don't know how to tag though.
I was gonna say I would tag them and introduce you guys, but worst case scenario, I'll get you on a call with them. So
well, because I mean that seems like we've tried to build that several times over. REI Blackbook is somebody that we've seen that has a similar setup, but we can't run our marketing like we want to run it out of REI Blackbook because like the way we're going to flow our stuff in now, it's going to flow from RVMs and text from our first round of RVM and text. It's going to go in the REI Blackbook so it can be followed up with. So by the time we text in RVM, we have good data going into REI Blackbook. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, no.
All the warm or fuck yous or whatever are all going into REI Blackbook. So if we're pushing it to REI Blackbook, then we can put it onto a 52-week follow-up campaign that's got emails and everything else, so on and so forth. But that stuff's expensive, and me, I've never really seen the point of a 52-week follow-up because I've never tried to feed 20 mouths. I've only ever tried to feed 2 mouths. You know what I mean? So if I'm walking in the living room, I like my chances, but I'm finding out that training a team is expensive. We've had a guy run 12 leads. Don't have a deal on the board from those 12. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't, and also, like when it comes to training, it's like, I need feedback. I need you to tell me why you don't think you got the lead, where you stalled out in the process. I mean, had one guy that had a 3,000 square foot house, wanted 100,000 for it. Sounded like a deal to me. You know what I mean? And for whatever reason, we didn't lock that deal up, and I still don't have a clear answer on why that didn't happen. But it should get dumped back into, all of us, and we should all take our shot at that guy too, because we know there's a guy out there with a 3,000 square foot house that wants to sell it for 100,000, but for whatever reason, that team member can't get back a hold of them. So we now realize that it's kind of imperative to have that follow up built in if you're going to try to feed 100 mouths, because if you're trying to feed 10 team members, they need something to do all day, because what ends up happening is I don't really know when they blow a deal up, when they get there, and I'm not there to watch, so I don't know at what point it went wrong. But that doesn't mean it's not a deal anymore. It just means that they couldn't negotiate with that seller. It doesn't mean I can't. It doesn't mean Spoon can't. It just means that they couldn't. So the follow up is imperative.
We've started kind of like round robining those in our between our acquisitions team. If someone loses it, it goes to the next guy, and then to the next guy, and the next guy, because just because they won't answer my call don't mean they won't answer their call.
We've always done that. Like I've always told Spoon, hey, when you blow it up, don't worry about it. Blow it up. Burn it down. Get them as low as you can. And when they won't talk to you anymore, they will still talk to me. I got a completely different area code. You know what I mean? Now I know where they were at, so I'm starting at an advantage. And I can get in there and get it done. You know what I mean?
For sure.
So what else are y'all doing other than wholesaling? Any wholesaling? Is wholesaling even a strategy in Ohio? Buy low, put it on less?
No, definitely wholesaling. I was still flipping about 1 a quarter, but I think for myself personally, going to start doing more wholetailing and quick flips rather than even worrying about going in and trying to make something look pretty. A lot of the investors definitely do wholesales. I would say for Ohio, the biggest thing is rentals. It is the one place you can buy a house for $20,000-$30,000 in cash flow, $600-$700 a month. Our rents here are great. It's a killer rental market. I mean, it's just as good for flipping, but when you can buy cash flow that cheap, it just makes sense. So.
True. Were you in rentals? Was that one of the things you gave up to wholesale?
Nope. I pretty much just gave up my flipping to go full-time wholesaling. And I think as I start building some more capital, I'll probably start dumping that into some rentals and more so flipping to myself.
Well, it makes sense to hold rentals. Mainly if you're going to have a wholesaling or wholesaling business, if you're going to have a cash generating business in real estate like that, holding rentals just for the depreciation to offset that income is a lot of people here. One of them back in 2017 talked a lot of shit about rentals. I wish I could go back on the internet and scrub all that off, because you don't know what you don't know. And, cash flow isn't necessarily a guy named Eddie Gant. He owns Jet Lending down in Houston, very large hard money lender. He told us in a meetup that rentals are somebody else buying you an asset, and if you look at them as anything else, you're really fooling yourself. And I swear, we did a burnout that was a flip that we couldn't sell, and we put a tenant in there. Looked like it was cash flowing about $400 a month, brand new everything. It was a burnout. Within a year and a half, our brand new air conditioner was out. You know what I mean? So there's $6,000 going into another air conditioner, and that's 2.5 years worth of cash flow. You know what I mean? So it's like, we had everything replaced here: hot water heater, AC. It's got a brand new roof, everything else. What happens next? The roof gets damaged. Well, insurance comes out, won't fix the roof. Well, that's another $4,500. So now we're in the negative on that one rental. That one rental is going to be in the negative for 6-7 years. So is it good? Yeah, but that $6,000-7,000 that we spent on it, obviously, comes off the bottom line, and then the depreciation that we get from that asset kind of offsets the income that we make wholesaling and flipping, which is what everybody needs. They need that. If you're going to make a lot of money, you're going to need those tax deductions. But you don't want to, get yourself into a big headache either, where you got 10 single family residents and now it's slowing you down on your wholesaling.
Oh yeah. No, totally get it. So,
but what else are you working on? What else you got going on?
Just focusing on the wholesaling right now. I just slowed everything else down to focus on that, and we're just slowly building out a team. So, we've got right now. I've got two acquisitions, one dispositions guy. We've got 3 VAs. And just really trying to focus on growing that out to where it can run smoothly, and then I'll move on to something else, I think. So
who showed you how to build that system?
Honestly, just digging into stuff like you guys down there, coming down to Texas, Propelio videos. I mean, you name it, just literally just digging into any kind of free mastermind or network that I can, and just paying attention.
So we don't have that intricate of a system. We're still like bootstraps. So we're still do bandit signs. Bandit signs are still our best lead source, because we figured out if we buy where nobody else buys, it's good. SMS is coming on strong for us. We're getting a lot of appointments off SMS. But the discounts, at least on our side, aren't really built into SMS like they are bandit signs. Spoon just texted me just now. He just locked up anyways, I got a guy that texted me about using my computer, but Spoon just locked up a deal off a bandit sign. It is, he locked it up for 10 grand. And it's in a neighborhood where something sold for 220,000, but I don't understand why, because it's literally like $100,000 neighborhood, but it's in a part of Texas, in a town in Texas, that you can't really make any rhyme or reason on why something sells for what it does. But, we've got that thing locked up for 10 grand. Now it's got a lot of title issues. But we already know that going in, so we'll get it sorted through. But that's a bandit sign lead. And the crazy thing about it is, that guy only wanted 8,000 for it. The 10,000 is because we're going to pay the back taxes. So, when he called, he was like, "Hey, I want 8 grand for this. And I want y'all to pay the back taxes." And I just said, "Well, how much are the back taxes?" He said 2 grand. I said, "Well, we'll just do it for 10. Because I don't want to get in that back tax trap where you say you're going to pay the back taxes and then it comes back and they're $20,000, and now you've agreed to pay them on a contract." So but
we have a lot of tax issues here in Ohio, so you can pick up houses next to nothing and just pay off the back taxes, which is kind of nice.
How's that work do they give you a tax deed, or do you have to pay the taxes for like 7 years, or how do you get them through that channel?
It depends. There's some counties here where they'll let you set up payment plans. So if you do 20% down, you can do the rest of it over like 4 years. So like, for example, in Dayton, Ohio, if you can find houses for $1,000 or $2,000 that come with $10,000 in back taxes. So basically you essentially get the house for $1,000, and then you go down to the county and put 20% down and pay it over 4 years. So there's
the county's now mortgaging you the property.
Yeah, basically. So it's just depending on, learning how to do it. Most people don't understand. So.
Well, that's one thing that our big deal that's on the board right now just cleared redemption. We went to an auction, bought a tax foreclosure for $67,000 at the auction, and just listed it for $275,000.
Nice.
So that's a 6-month right of redemption. I don't know. We priced it for a quick sell. We'll see how quick it sells at 275. It is the right time of year, so that kind of timed out perfectly. But I think a lot of people sleep on that here. We put together a mastermind around it for $100, and we were going to do like one a month for $100, and 8 people signed up. And then we got there, it's a lot of work. We went and looked at all the houses that were going to be on the auction. The next day we went to the auction. All of them had been pulled off. Somebody had caught up the taxes. So you wasted what feels like a day of your life. You know what I mean? You're like, I drove around all day looking at all these properties and none of them sold. I'm like, well, that's the reason why they're discounted. You know what I mean? Like, you got to look at a lot of real estate to be able to buy one. But after that, I was like, man, this was so much fun. We ought to just do it for a year. So I took the $100 off and made it a $500. And we're going to do, we go to the tax auction every single month anyway. So if people want to tag along and see our methods, then we'll do it. What a lot of people don't know is here in Texas, you can actually borrow the money that you're buying. You can take somebody else's money to the tax auction and give them a lien position on the property, at the auction. So most people don't do that. We do. And so we're kind of showing them a little extra deal, because our first property we ever bought at the tax auction, we bought for $2,100 and sold it for $50,000.
Nice.
But what else you got going on, Dustin? You coming out to our marketing mastermind to see our list stacking and all the shenanigans we do?
No, I definitely plan on coming. I'll probably bring my internet manager with me and let him kind of meet you too. So,
dude, I'm super excited. I think the most value after seeing other people's systems, I'm like, we're not very systemized. But what we are is savages with the message. We are savages at training the guy that's just getting started to be good on the phone. We're savages at getting his phone to ring with some lead sources that he can actually convert. I look back to when Propelio taught me about appointment of substitute trustee and how it changed our business. That one phrase changed our business. Now, I had a little different mindset on it. I went out and dug into it, kind of like what you did, and drilled down into what it was, what it meant, and how to find it. A lot of people, they don't even know where to start looking for that. I was already in real estate for a pretty good amount of time, so I knew where to go look, and I kind of take that for granted. So I'll tell somebody, hey, just pull up an appointment of substitute trustee and call them. Well, that don't mean nothing to them. So we show them exactly how to do that. I've done probably 10 videos on my YouTube channel of just us doing that in Texas. But now we found other filings that are way more exciting than the appointment of substitute trustee. And I don't talk about them on the internet because I don't want everybody to go beat on these people. I don't want to ruin it for ourselves, but we do show it in the mastermind because it's kind of crazy. Some of the filings that are out there, and if you know what they mean and can look them up, there's literally a lead source, an untapped in lead source that nobody ever looks into or calls. So we use Skip Genie for that and your public data. And we sit there and call. I was doing it this morning and made an offer on a house. She said no. And then I put her into the Facebook group and said, hey guys, she's no at 20, but the house might be worth 100. See what you can do. You know what I mean? So she might've got 100 calls a day. No telling.
That works.
Where are you getting your data from? Propelio, Dropping for Dollars, some other place.
Propelio, PropStream and Propelio both, and then I'm just sending it out usually to batch skip tracing. So
batch skip tracing.
Yeah.
Do you use their lead stacker?
I haven't used their lead stacker yet, so I've been stacking everything myself, but I plan on checking it out for sure.
Dude, I'm telling you, only reason we signed up was I signed up to see what it was. I told the guys on our team to look into it. I was like, hey, go look into this. And they reported back, we can't use this for our business. And I thought, okay, we can't. Well, then we were using Lead Sherpa to do our texting. Mm-hmm. And when we were using Lead Sherpa, we were having to go through and like organize and like, so if the street name was all caps, we were having to, mess around in Excel and make it lowercase, normalize it, make it where it's actually not like we're yelling at the people. You know what I mean? So we set all that up, and I was reading about batch, and it said that it normalized the text. And so I went and looked at it, and it was $95 a month to throw it in there. And I was like, well, I don't even have to use it to stack lists. If I just throw it in there and it lowercases everything for me that needs to be lowercase, it's worth the money. So I sign up for it, and then I find out it's got texting, so it's got the skip tracing right there. So you stack your list in, and then you can just export it, and it goes right into the skip tracing. You push it from the skip tracing to the text messaging. From the text messaging, you can sit there and text. They come back in. They say, "Oh man, I want 110,000 for my house. Seems like a warm lead to me." You hit warm lead, and you can push it to your CRM. So whatever CRM you're using, you then push it to your CRM. I'm like, man, I can train my sister to do this. You know what I mean? My sister can sit at home and respond to these text messages. I can hand this to a VA anywhere and have them read through it. I can hire a girl in the office to sit in the corner and do this all day. Like, my mind just kind of exploded on how I could build a system with that, with VAs. You know what I mean? Single moms, whatever the situation was. So we haven't built a system around it yet that doesn't involve our team members, but that's the next phase. The next phase is get the texting, us send the text messages, but the responding, get that to a VA or get that to somebody that's paid, $9, $10 an hour to mess with that. And then building out the follow-up sequence once it's done. But man, it brings the cream right to the top. And you can do an entire campaign. I mean, I'm setting up somebody else's this evening on YouTube and Facebook. I'll be setting up somebody else's that signed up under my affiliate link. So I'm going to set their stuff up. They got Propelio. They got this. We're going to pull data out of Propelio. And the best part about it is, like, what do you use for your backstop on everything? I'm using Free and Clear. I'm basically pulling the entire Free and Clear database out of Propelio, 5,000 leads at a time, because no matter if I do a driving for dollars list, if I do a water shutoff list, no matter what list I put into there other than that, if it matches up with the Free and Clear, I mean, there's going to be equity there. You know what I mean? Like, you can't go wrong with it.
It just depends. I mean, I've used that as a filter as far as the Free and Clear goes, but I usually, look for equity filters and things like that too. So it just all depends.
But you're doing that when you pull the list out.
Yeah, so I'm doing that when I actually pull it.
So I'm pulling raw data, and just building my database into batch.
Nice.
I don't know if that's right or wrong, but I want everything that's Free and Clear on there. Now, obviously, when records get updated, however often they get updated, things are going to sell out of that and stuff like that. But I know Donovan Ruffin has over 1 million records that he has all the data to, in the Metroplex alone. And I mean, I can't imagine getting to that point, but in these smaller counties that we operate in, we're going to beat on these people. As long as it's Free and Clear, high equity, any other form of motivation that shows up in there, we're going to bring them right to the top and start hammering them on the text messages.
Yeah, most definitely. Text has definitely been killing it for us. So I'm excited to keep doing more of it and learning more of it. So I shut down my pay-per-click stuff, everything for now until, this stuff's just so much better producing. So
dude, I'm about to get into pay-per-click, but I'm going to do it in towns of 3,000 people.
Yeah. Well, we're working on it because, obviously when we pull these lists, we get, email addresses, things like that. So I think we're going to be working on more of a targeted PPC with like social media, things like that, once we get back into it the next month or two. So
who are you going to use for that?
My internet guy. Yep, he does all that. So it's kind of funny. So how I found him, I've known him for years, and he was doing lead generation for chiropractic offices. And I was like, hey, have you ever thought about real estate? And he said, yeah, I kind of need a change of what I'm doing. He said, I can't stand working with these doctors. And so I showed him what I knew about real estate, and he just combined with what he knew about lead generation, and he just dug in, man. But he's spent the past 6 months doing nothing but learning the tech side of this business for me, and he's killing it. So
dude, YouTube ads.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he's mentioned something about that too. So I think we're gonna
the settings on YouTube ads right now are what Facebook were in 2015.
Oh wow.
So the ads that play at the beginning of videos, you can drill it down with all these different demographics. There's literally a looking for a house, looking for rent house, looking to buy a house, click. Like, you know what I mean? Looking to sell a house, click. Like, nice. You can geo tag it and whatever you want and put looking to sell a house and show that video. Now, you know what I do and what you do when we see an ad on YouTube. I don't know when the last time I watched one was. So you got that little 15 seconds of free 5 seconds of free that you got to get in. But if you get a good solid message in the 5 seconds, I think you could see some conversions that would really, really, really knock our socks off. So that's something I'm about to dive into pretty heavy. Yeah. And we're going to do it for our property management company too. I mean, to try to rent properties, we're gonna put that ad copy in and see what it does.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm just trying to stay focused, but
what were y'all doing today before I asked you to do this?
Actually, I was going to Staples to pick up a podcast mic because I'm actually working on some stuff to do some live videos and whatnot and bring on, because I work with a lot of new wholesalers in the area now, and they bring us deals and I'm lining them up with buyers. So one of the nice things is I'm able to help these new wholesalers move deals in like a week or two. And so I'm going to start doing, I think, I started the Midwest REI Connect group. I don't know if you've seen me put you in there or not, but basically I started a group called Midwest REI Connect over here in the Midwest so that I can kind of take the people and everything that I've learned out there, like you guys, and bring you out here to the Midwest and help people learn more and connect everybody. I just have so many new wholesalers reach out to me all the time, and I don't have the time to slow down and help every one of them, but I will give them a few pointers, and the ones that are actually out there looking for houses and bringing me properties, I will work with them and help them lock these up and move them. And it's been, I would say, a good 40% of our business is just working with newer wholesalers and actually helping them do a real wholesale rather than selling them on a course on something. And it's starting to build good relationships for us. So I want to start bringing them on there and bringing them on like a live video type podcast once a week and just letting them share their ups and downs of what it took to get that first deal kind of deal. So,
and I think anybody that looks at the large wholesale business, like the large wholesalers, not guys that are on Facebook, talking about large wholesalers.
Oh yeah.
Home Investors, New Western, Network, 3 largest wholesalers there are out there. And I think it was your status that said that on.
Oh yeah, it was.
And when you look at their business model, every single one of them places an emphasis, especially Net Worth and New Western, not on lead gen, but on helping people dispose of their leads. Yep. I mean, we have a term down here, we call it New Westering it. Just send it to New Western and they'll unload it onto somebody. But if you look at their model, it's heavy sales oriented. I mean, it's high pressure sales when you're in New Western, high pressure sales when you're at Net Worth. I mean, it's a crazy environment. But it comes from, it's like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know what I mean? I want to be the world's biggest wholesaler. Well, you need to model your business after the world's biggest wholesalers, not people on Facebook like me who are focused heavy on lead gen. I don't want to be the world's biggest wholesaler. I want to make big margins. You know what I mean? I don't want to do 100 deals. I want to do a handful of deals. Not because of any other reason, just, that's just where I want to work. Logan Bentley, former in Roughneck Real Estate. I mean, that dude scrubs the backside of title because he gets such big margins. I mean, he buys stuff for literally pennies on the dollar. I know a deal he did. I don't know the exact number of properties he bought, but he bought it for $30,000. I've seen him, talk about the other, different deals that he bought for that. I mean, I think it was something like 30 properties that he bought all over the state of Texas for $30,000 because they had dirty title. She couldn't sell them to anybody else. So he gave her cash and he's gone and been working on cleaning the title on all of these different properties to get them. Now that he's getting clean title on them, he's disposing of them. And I mean, that $30,000 investment is going to pay him, I don't know how much, but it's a lot because I mean, they're not small properties. A lot of them are big tracts of land and stuff like that. So, that's kind of, I don't want to go that model, but I do want to be doing bigger deals because I don't see me running a big system like what y'all are running. Y'all's system.
I think where the volume comes in for us, so in Ohio, we have a lot of turnkey buyers, and they buy. Actually, one of my partners with my wholesaling company, they own a turnkey company, and they're looking to do 100 to 200 deals a year. So I type of volume to keep my buyers happy around here. So that's, I think, where that model works well for me is because when I do produce volume, it keeps those buyers happy, and then you get the good hits in there as well. So
that's the part down here that I mean, I don't know what y'all's deal flow is like or how hard it is to find leads, but if we had anywhere in the Metroplex, you can move anything you want at any moment in time if you can get any kind of equity. The problem becomes like how competitive it is with wholesaling. And it's not necessarily how many people are going after the same house. It's when I put this deal out there, I'm going to have 80 people go talk to my buyer or my seller. It's like, I mean, it's a dog eat dog world. I mean, if you've got that one buyer you can sell to, you're fine. But if you don't, I mean, when these things hit the internet, everybody now is calling that seller. So that was the part of wholesaling that I couldn't really see myself building off of that, because, if I'm spending $100,000 a month on marketing, like some of these people do, if I don't have very many misses before I'm bankrupt, and I didn't want to do it. So I've always been more sourcing private capital, buying a deal. We're closing on a deal this week for $25,000. We're going to list it for 90 day one. That's that person called us. That's their price. That's not our price. We have no idea what it's worth. We've done this enough times that we think it might sell for 90, but we very well might have to put 45 into it and sell it for 150. You know what I mean? Yeah. We might get it under contract for 90 and it go through inspection and we realize it's got bad plumbing and we're about to have to chew into a slab and do a whole bunch of extra stuff, because, that 25,000 price, everybody's like, oh man, you're going to hit a lick. I've got one that we bought 2 houses last year. It sat on the market for a full year, 220 showings. It had over 45 showings at $150,000. At $89,000, it still didn't sell. Okay. We are now having to go do a full rehab on it to get it to sell this spring. So we'll do a full rehab on it. We'll put it back out for 150. If we make $10,000 on that deal, we'll be happy. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it would have took a full year to do it. So everybody that comes out and says, oh man, you shouldn't buy something for 25 and sell it for 90. I'm like, you ain't been doing this very long. There's a lot of risk involved in that 25 to 90 deal that's in a town that nobody's ever heard of.
Yeah, I actually, the house, my recent flips have actually been in like small rural towns. Like it'll be like house, trailer, house. It's like that kind of neighborhood, and I love it. But I'm finding these good little neighborhoods like that outside town that has great school districts. So when I list them, they're selling like instantly because it's a good school district. And like my last flip I picked up, I picked it up $35,000 on an owner financing deal. He transferred the title to me, recorded him back as the mortgage holder. 0 down, 0 payments, 0 interest for 6 to 12 months. I flipped it. I put $23,000 in. And I sold it for 107 within like 48 hours.
Dude,
so
awesome.
So, I don't mind going outside of town in those less competitive areas. And I still think Ohio is less competitive than most markets. Like when I went to Texas, I'm like looking at this competitiveness and I'm like, man, we're like 5-10 years behind this. So I went back home and kind of gathered what I learned, out there and have been utilizing it out here. And I think that's what's helping, because I talk to these people around here and they're like I said, 5-10 year mindset behind you guys. And I love it.
Dude, it is a little crazy. Like I went to Erie, PA, rode around with wholesalers up there. I'm going there this weekend to teach our marketing class. We looked at 2 different houses. One of them was 4,000 square foot, a 4,000 square foot house. We're talking 4 stories with a basement. I mean, this house was massive. And it's like, yeah, what do you want for it? He's like, 20,000. And I'm like, oh my God, like this is such a good deal, and then I get to look at it, I'm like, well, it's 4,000 square foot that needs to be completely rehabbed at $30 a square foot. You know what I mean? Like doing the math, and I'm like, well, what did this one next door sell for? And they're like 81. I'm like, what? What will that one rent for? And they're like, oh, that's a $1,600 a month rent all day. And I'm like, this is crazy. Like this, and that 4,000 square foot house was a 6-bed, 4-bath, 6-bed, 4-bath, 3 bedrooms on 1 floor, all had their own bathroom. I was like, man, I don't know if it'll cash flow, but I want this to be a sorority house. There was a college nearby. I'm like, the only way I can make sense of this is if I make this a sorority house and then I move in. Now it looks like a really good deal. But they were laughing at me. I'm like, man, I can't. Like it seemed like such a great deal at the time, but then I was like, full gut rehab. But they contracted it, put it out there, and somebody came over there and bought it. And they're going to turn it out on a lease option or contract for deed, and it's going to cash flow for them tremendously well. So, those other exit strategies always help whenever it comes to wholesaling and stuff like that.
For sure. I've always been, good with like, and here in Ohio, we can do land contracts and stuff. So that's all. I've done several flips that way, and that's kind of actually how I did my first flip, was on a land contract. So I've kind of always learned that method, but starting to dig into more, sub 2 stuff out here, because it hasn't really caught on here, and there's tons of deals that, where we're making a cash offer, we could also be making a creative offer and locking up a lot more properties.
Dude,
so not killing it.
Dan's class. If anybody's watching that hasn't gone to Dan's class, if you're in the Metroplex, go to Dan Acito's class. It's his, like, you should come down here and spend that $300 and hang out in Texas and go listen to Dan talk about it, because how he explains the owner finance offer, right, is very simple. Cash is cash and time is money, right? And they're like, yeah, they agree. Yeah, time is money. Okay, you give me more time, I'll give you more money. Like, what do you mean? You let me pay you out over 15 years, I'll give you 90% of what it's worth right now, and 180 equal payments. And they're like, well, what about a down payment? And Dan's like, well, what is a down payment? What about it? Well, you give me some money down. No, I'm not a bank. I mean, you're not a bank. When you give money down to a bank, they give money back. They pay money out. You're not having to pay any money out. So there's no down payment involved in this transaction. If you're going to give me less time, if you want me to buy it today, I'm going to be at 30 cents on the dollar, because time is money. I don't mind giving you money, but if you're not going to give me any time, this is all the money I have to give you. And that one concept and how he explains it and breaks it down, and there's a little NLP in there, but it makes perfect sense. It's worth the price of admission, because everybody thinks he's teaching how to owner finance houses. He's teaching how to buy houses using owner financing.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'll have to definitely look into that one. So I'm due for a Texas trip.
Dude, look into it. I've been sharing this stuff in the Roughneck Real Estate. Dan is a savage when it comes to that stuff. What else you got up there that you want people to know about? If they need to buy you or need to find you, how do they find you? I'll put it
you can find me on Facebook. I'm sure I'll end up commenting and sharing. Dustin Seyersdahl on Facebook. Midwest REI Connect is the group that I'm running. Or you can just reach out to me at Dustin at Cash for Ohio Houses with the number 4 in there. And yeah,
dude, that's awesome. I don't think we've sold. I think we've sold 1 or 2 tickets to Cincy. So
okay,
tell your people, tell your new wholesalers to come out, because we're going to teach them how to market on less than $300 a month. And everybody's like, I don't have $300 a month. I'm like, your $300 a month is right here. You're drinking it in Monsters. You're eating it. You know what I mean? You're eating it in cheeseburgers. You have $300 a month. You just don't want to skip lunch.
Yeah. What day is it again?
It's not this weekend, but it's the following weekend. I don't know if it's Saturday or Sunday, but it's one of the days on the weekend. So I'm doing Cincinnati and Indianapolis on the same weekend, but I haven't sold any to Indianapolis. So maybe if we sell a bunch to Cincinnati, we'll just make it a 2-day and hang out for 2 days together and get into some really negotiation tactics and stuff like that.
Yeah, you're in Cincinnati, you'll be close to the office, so we'll have to bring you to the office or something and let you meet everybody and see what we can't get kind of trouble we can get into.
Dude, I love it. Like, I want you to bring your team in there and let's get them on the phone and let's teach them some keywords. We did this the first time in Tyler the day before. I don't know if you were there though. I don't remember if you were there whenever we were doing.
I did make it the day before. I made it to the day of the event. So
we were just goofing around at a restaurant. I busted out my computer and was like, hey, let's answer some calls on some ringless voicemails, and we started doing it in Tyler. And at the time, the good people of Tyler had never heard a ringless voicemail. So, because nobody was doing that type of marketing. And the response rate was through the roof. And I was in the back like, no, don't say that. Don't ask them if they've got a house that's for sale. For sale implies it's for sale. Ask them if they've got a house that they would like to sell. You know what I mean? Ask them if they know somebody that's looking to sell. Like, quit saying for sale. I just want to sit back there like a cattle prod and be like, it's not for sale. It's not for sale.
Yeah. Well, we'll get you here. We'll get some leads out there, make some calls, and maybe we can go look at some houses.
Dude, I want to look at houses. Like, I might cancel the Indianapolis trip and just spend a weekend with y'all in Cincinnati.
Let's do it, man. Let's get this video out there. Let's get some more people in there.
All right, man. Appreciate it, Dustin. Thanks for your time.
Definitely. Talk to you later, man.
Later.